and Jaden, he's likes to touch things and he likes to move around. So he hit Belinda's fish tank a few times, and Belinda had told him, don't hit the fish tank, don't hit the fish tank. And then she went upstairs, and Jaden hit the fish tank. And then so I was sitting on the couch, so I asked Jaden to come here. So he came over, and I used it because Belinda just told him to stop, but she didn't really explain why. She just said, don't hit the fish tank. So I told Jaden, I used it as a learning experience, and I said, Jaden, when you hit the fish tank, you're tapping the water, and water carries vibrations. So when you hit the fish tank, it feels like the fish, like you're tapping on their head, even though you're tapping on the fish tank because of the vibration. And he's like, okay. And then her sister just completely lost it and went nuts. So me and Jaden were just standing there in shock. Then because of a lot of screaming, Belinda came downstairs and asked what was going on, and I proceeded to explain to her. And eventually it was fine. Her sister Gina apologized and said, "I'm sorry, I overreacted. We come from a domestically violent family and had a lot of abuse growing up, so she's very sensitive to that."
Is the hearsay?
I don't know if it's hearsay, but that's what she told me.
Mr. Tony,
No hearsay.
there you go. So thank you. I'm just going to strike that last portion. Mr. Hoffman, it is hearsay. Mr. Hoffman asked another question.
We just can't talk about what other people said, okay?
Okay.
So, did Jaden understand what was going on regarding the fish in the fish tank? You can't hit it if you hit it?
Yes, he understood, yes.
He understood what you were trying to teach him?
Yeah, he understood.
Did he stop at that period of time?
He did.
Right. After you took Jaden to New York on that date. Oh, by the way, there were some photos you saw there from the exhibits by Mr. Tody's office by Belinda. There's photos there of Jaden with Belinda. Were all those pictures taken by Belinda, or were those taken by others?
There was a picture of Jaden, super cute, in front of Niagara Falls. That was my picture. I took him to Niagara Falls on that visit. And so I took that picture and I texted it to Belinda so that she can have it.
So you share photos with Belinda?
Yes.
And it looks like she cherishes those photos?
Yes, she does.
How many other times other than New York has Belinda spent time with Jaden?
2 times. 2 other times in Vegas.
When were those 2 times after New York, when you took Jaden to visit and meet Belinda in New York? Has she seen Jaden in Las Vegas?
It was 2019, May. I believe it's May. It was a pool visit.
Hold on. I'm just asking.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Let me, so everyone understands. So you said there was 2 times. One was now you're saying May of 2019 at the pool.
Yes.
When was the other time?
November of 2020 at Desert Breeze Park.
Okay. Let's talk about the day at the pool in May of 2019. How was that visit with Jaden and Belinda worked out?
It was fine.
How did it come into place?
Oh, Belinda was coming in for a family reunion, and I believe she reached out through Kaylee this time. She didn't. And Kaylee told me that her mother is coming into town with family members, and they're going to be doing a cabana pool party and would like Jaden to attend.
So did you take Jaden to the pool party?
Yes, I did.
And who went there with you to the pool party?
Just me and Jaden.
And what were they doing at the pool party?
Playing in the pool. Jaden was in the pool most of the time. Belinda was hanging out with her family and also Jaden.
And so how did that visit go?
It went fine.
Was there anything there during the visit that bothered Jaden?
Belinda smokes a lot, and Jaden complained that she smells like cigarettes. a lot.
All right. You said that there was another visit in 2020. How was that visit scheduled?
Kaylee reached out to me again saying her mother was coming into town and wanted to schedule a visit with Jaden.
Okay, and did she ask for how many days or how many times?
They didn't really say. She just said she's coming into town, and I said, okay, well, would your mom want to see him like maybe 2 times, 2 hours each? And she said, yes, that's good.
Okay, and so.
And I said longer if Jaden's comfortable, longer would be fine.
And so when you scheduled these visits, did you schedule 2 set days?
Yes, we scheduled 2 set days.
And what did you talk about prior to the visits?
Basically, Kaylee needs to confirm the same thing, just confirm that they're coming and who's coming.
And so during the first visit, did they confirm the visit?
Yes, they confirmed the visit.
And then who did they say was going to be at that visit?
They did not confirm any other people, so it was just supposed to be Belinda and Kaylee.
And so how did that visit go?
They were 45 minutes late, so Jade and I waited at the park for 45 minutes, and then they finally showed up. When they showed up, they also had Mark and Sue with them.
Oh, okay, stop there. Who's Mark and Sue?
Mark is Jaden's maternal grandfather, and Sue is married to him.
Okay, and so Mark had custody of placement of Jaden before in the CPS case.
Correct.
And so in the CPS case, there was a change in the CPS case where placement was changed from Mark to Rex and yourself.
Correct.
And so what happened when Mark and Susan, what was your understanding what occurred?
When? At the park?
Yes.
So they showed up and they were very distant because they haven't seen him.
I just want to know what you saw.
What I saw, yeah. So I saw not a lot of interaction. So can I say the conversation then?
No, well, just tell me as a result. I want you to tell me as a result what you saw regarding emotion or physically, if there's any problems with Jaden because they were there at the visit.
Jaden was very uncomfortable. He expressed anxiety and guilt.
And do you know the reason why he expressed anxiety and guilt?
Yes, because Belinda asked him, "Do you remember Mark?" And Jaden said, "No." And then Mark was very, very hurt and offended, and he was visibly so. And he was very upset. He was a little bit erratic. He cursed, and then it made Jaden feel really bad that he didn't remember him, and Jaden felt like it was his fault. And that's one of the reasons why I request them to let me know who's coming so that I can better prepare him so that he won't be put in that situation.
So if you would have known before, you would have told him who was going to be there and prepared him so that there wouldn't have been that awkward incident.
Yes, and he would know, I would remind him and tell him who he.
What about the second visit? How did that go?
Second visit went fine, but it was supposed to be the next day, but they rescheduled for the following day. So the day the second visit was supposed to occur did not happen, and it was rescheduled, and that went fine. They showed up on time, and they had a good visit.
Were you told the reason why the second visit was scheduled or canceled and rescheduled?
I believe Belinda and Kaylee got into an argument, and I told Kaylee, and they canceled it. And Kaylee canceled it, but she didn't really cancel it for Belinda. And since Belinda was in town visiting, I didn't want Belinda to miss the visit. So I texted Kaylee. I said, "You have to figure it out with your mom." And then they rescheduled for the next day.
Well, let me ask you the same questions that I asked you in regards to Kaylee. Has Belinda provided any monetary support for the health, education, shelter, clothing, or anything medical?
No, she. Sorry.
The same thing. Counsel is going to ask you questions too.
Okay.
So when I ask, you just have to wait until I finish.
Okay.
There's a record which is being made.
Okay.
They'll probably get more upset about you talking over them rather than me.
Okay.
So let me, just so you're aware of that. So for the last 4.5 years,
Yes.
since Jaden's been with you and you've cared for him, have you received any monetary support from Belinda for any reason? Would she say it was for medical, housing, clothing, school, or any gifts for Jaden for the last 4.5 years?
On a couple occasions, she did.
Okay. So, on a couple of occasions out of the blue, how much money did she give you?
She didn't give it to me. She handed Jaden $100 at the pool when she came to visit Vegas, and she told him it was because Jaden won a bet because it was Super Bowl and Jaden likes the Patriots. But so Belinda gave him $100 and said to buy whatever you want with it, and he purchased a Thanos glove and Roblox money.
Okay, other than the $100 that she won a bet, and that was in 2018.
Yes, and then in 2020, in April, she gave him $100, but it was Walmart to Walmart, so I picked it up at Walmart. And she said it was for him to, I assumed it was for his birthday because I think it was on his birthday, for him to buy a present. So he did. He, again, bought Roblox money.
Well, okay, so there's two different occasions where she gave $100. In 2018, she gave it to Jaden after she won a bet. She said he won a bet on the Patriots.
Uh-huh.
Then in 2020, there was a Walmart to Walmart gift certificate or something which was given.
$100 cash. $100, yeah.
And she told you to use it for him to buy gifts, whatever he wants. All right.
And then another $10 in November of 2020 when she came to the park, she gave him a $10 bill.
Okay. So other than this $210, did she give you any money directly for, going back to my question, for the last 4.5 years, has she given you any money for shelter, for food, for his medical, schooling, or any other necessities for Jaden?
No.
And let's go back for the last 4.5 years. You said that she was first introduced to Jaden in June of 2017. What about for Christmas of 2017? Did she give any gifts for Jaden in Christmas of 2017?
Yes.
All right. And what about gifts for Jaden in 2018?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
And what about 2019?
Yes.
And what about 2020?
Yes.
And did you open these gifts with Jaden on Christmas?
No.
Why not?
She usually sends it to Kaylee, and then it doesn't get to me until like 3 months later.
Okay. So you didn't, over the last, any of the times you didn't have the pleasure, or Jaden didn't have the pleasure?
No.
And so, what about for his birthday in 2018, 19, and 20? Did you receive any gifts from Belinda or cards or notes?
I want to say no. I don't think so.
And in the exhibits in here, which is, they're marked as, and they've been admitted into the record, exhibit number 3. Would you mind taking a look at those?
Your exhibit number 3, Mr. Hoffland?
Yes, Your Honor. And these are, looking at exhibit number 3, tell the court what these are.
These are text messages between me and Belinda in 2017.
And so looking at the text messages, just so the court knows which one is yours and which one's Belinda's.
Belinda's is the one on the left, and then mine is the one on the right. So
Thank
hers
you.
is light colored and mine is dark colored.
And when you exchange information with Belinda during this period of time, were there problems with your communications with Belinda?
No. I mean, the text went through fine.
But did you have problems with some of the content with the exchanges you had with her?
Yes. At near the middle and the end, there was a lot of, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just, I didn't respond to any of it because they were just so mean.
And despite the mean text which you received from her, did you continue to allow contact and communicate with her and provide her photos of Jaden?
Yes, well, I didn't really provide photos, to be honest, but I did. Every time she texted me, can you have Jaden call me? I 100% did.
Well, there's pictures in here. Who sent these pictures?
Oh, that was at the beginning. Those are before I went to Buffalo and her family went nuts. So I did send her pictures of, we went on a cruise. I sent her pictures. I sent her a picture of Jaden's friends and neighborhood kids. Jaden playing with the dogs. I did send pictures.
And you continue to provide this information?
Correct.
And in the exhibits as well, there's several, and I don't know which one that is off the top of my head. There are photos between you and Jaden?
Yes. I do still continue to send photos to Kaylee.
Go to the beginning. I'm sorry, you're in my seat, so it makes it a little bit difficult.
Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1.
Okay, tell the court what Exhibit 1 is.
Exhibit 1 is there's a picture of Jaden's room and his bunk bed and pictures of us going to a wedding, a friend's wedding, picture right before bed, he's in his PJs, first day of school on the left, and a picture of us at Knott's Berry Farm for the holidays. And exhibit page 2 is the top pictures is winter right before the pandemic shut us down. We did a what is that called? Escape room, and we did the Cosmopolitan ice skating, and then the side pictures, and then the one with the pig. We went on a cruise with my family, and at the Bahamas, and we went to Universal Studios and Walt Disney World, Florida, and he swam with the pig in that one. He really liked that. And then the next picture is a picture of his birthday with Rex, Golden Knights game, because we had season tickets. Golden Knights game with his dad, and him and Chance, and then him and Rex at Disneyland. And then the next picture is more hockey, because we really like hockey. He likes hockey too. And the top picture was, it was a playoff game we went to in LA against the LA Kings, and he said he wanted a puck for his birthday. And then the bottom picture of me and him is at the game. He's always snuggling on me. And then the other picture on top was another hockey game, and that was at Anaheim versus the Ducks. Again, Golden Knights and the Ducks.
I'm going to interrupt really quick. Mr. Zernich, Mr. Tody, is your objection only to the, regarding this exhibit, would that be resolved if we eliminated the writings from the child and the cards? Mr. Tody?
Yes, Judge.
You would stipulate to the admission of the photographs?
Photos, yes, Judge.
Mr. Zernich?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Hoffland, if we eliminated, I believe the last few pages here are some writings from the child and some other cards. Those are the issues for the objection. If we eliminated those, it looks like counsel would stipulate. Are you fine with that?
Judge, yeah, they already agreed to the admission of exhibit number 1.
All right.
I didn't know that there was an issue.
Judge, from that standpoint, Mr. Hoffland is accurate. We did agree to the admission of number 1, or at least I did.
All right. Well, I can look through them, Mr. Hoffland. You could go to another subject. I'm familiar with the lion habitat. I mean, come on.
Right, so you exchange cards and notes, and you have a loving relationship with Jaden.
Yes. Can I say something to the judge really quick in regards to lion habitat, since she said?
Sure.
Were you ever there when the lion pees on the people? They say you have to stand far away because the lions will like mark their territory. We were there and that happened. It was actually really funny.
I'm not going to answer that. We really don't usually. I appreciate that, but we usually don't let people ask me questions. They can guess later whether or not I've been there during. Mr. Hoffman, anything else?
I'm sorry, Judge?
Anything else from you?
Nothing else from me, Judge.
Mr. Tody, go ahead.
So, Ms. Ho, you'd indicated that the first visit that you had with my client, it was in Buffalo in 2017, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And prior to that meeting, what did you know about my client and any communication that you had with my client? What was that like?
I knew that, but it's hearsay, right? What people tell me? That's hearsay?
It's not it's my client is talking to you. So anything my client said to me, you can say. Said to you, you can say.
I'm sorry, can you ask the question one more time?
What did you know of my client prior to the visit? And what were your discussions with her prior to the visit?
I knew that she was Jaden's maternal grandmother. And we talked about Jaden. The conversations were pleasant.
Okay. And were you aware that the child had previously been in her care?
She had told me that, yes. So
Okay.
what she tells me is that I can say?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, she told me that, yes.
Okay. All right. And do you remember specifically how long the child had been in her care?
A year.
Okay. All right. And when you were describing the fish tank incident,
Uh-huh.
I was a little bit confused by your hand gestures. You'd indicated that you were using it as a teaching moment and that you were explaining to Jaden that the tapping of the glass acted as a vibration that the fish could feel on their head, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then I saw you gesture to your own head, but were you indicating that you had tapped Jaden?
Yes, I tapped Jaden lightly on the head like this.
Okay. And that was you mimicking the idea of the
Water.
of him tapping on the fish tank. Okay. And your testimony was that my client's, I believe, sister took that as some type of you were abusing Jaden. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And when you were in Buffalo with Jaden, how long were you there?
3 days.
And you said that Rex was there as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you guys, where did you stay?
The Hilton?
Okay. And did you and Rex and Jaden spend the entire time at the Hilton or not?
Yes. You mean
Okay.
like every night, like to sleep? Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. And I was just confused. Were there periods of time when my client had the child, had Jaden without you or Rex there as well, or were you always there with
I was
Jaden?
always there.
Okay. Was there a concern or an issue with you leaving Jaden with my client alone?
Rex had expressed to me that he would not want Jaden to...
Hold on. Now, you can't tell me what Rex said because Rex isn't here. I apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's all right. It's complicated. Go ahead, Mr. Tody.
Okay. Did you yourself have any concerns about Jaden being left in my client's care?
Yes.
Okay. And what were those concerns?
He didn't know her.
Okay. All right. And when the two subsequent visits have occurred, has Jaden recognized my client?
Yes.
Okay. Is it fair to say that, in your opinion, Jaden knows my client now?
Yes. He knows of her.
Okay. Well, when you say he knows of her, what's your distinction? Does Jaden know my client or no? In your opinion?
He knows Belinda is his grandmother.
Okay. And he has a relationship with her? Would you describe it as a relationship?
I mean, everything is a relationship, right? Like you and I have a relationship. So I don't know what depth of relationship you want me to answer.
Well, answer that. What is the nature of their relationship?
The nature of the relationship is that he knows of her, but he doesn't really have a relationship with her.
All right. And beyond
is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. All right. So beyond the fact that my client and Jaden are not presently close, any other concerns about the child being in Belinda's care?
I can't say because then it's hearsay. I'm like kind of conflicted. I'm sorry.
I'm asking about your own opinion, ma'am. Do you have any concern? Okay. What other concerns do you have?
My concern is that she has anger issues.
Okay. And that's predicated upon the text that you provided?
Yes. She's kind of sometimes erratic, a little bit unstable.
So if you recall, I mean, you brought that up from memory. So what text would you describe as the most erratic or the most angry that you recall receiving from my client?
It's in this exhibit. Our exhibit.
That you recall.
I recall. Am I allowed to swear? She called me a fucking bitch. She was kind of racist. She said that I'm raising Jaden in a loveless heritage because I'm Asian and he's an American boy and he should be raised as an American. Mind you, I was born in Jersey, so my nationality is American. I pride myself as being American.
Well, if you consider New Jersey America, I guess.
It is.
Couldn't help it, sorry.
And then, and she, I don't know exactly, but it was a lot, like 50-something text messages straight of basically her saying, fuck you, fuck this. If you think Kaylee's bad, I'm worse. Basically just calling me a bitch. And I don't know, it's a lot. I can't recall all of it.
Okay.
I'd be here for a long time.
All right, so anger issues and erratic, and then you mentioned that Jaden doesn't know her very well. Is there any other concerns that you have?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. Now, the house that you visited in Buffalo, where Belinda was staying, could you describe the house if you recall?
It is a one-story house. I believe it had a basement. It's a little bit older. I'm sorry, not one story. She came from two story. Because she came from upstairs. So I never went upstairs. So I only saw downstairs and the basement. So don't know what upstairs looks like.
Okay. So the sections of the house that you saw, did you find anything inappropriate or unusual?
It smelled strongly of cigarettes.
Okay. All right. Now, you've indicated that you've allowed Belinda to have telephonic communication with Jaden?
Yes.
Okay, and how often has that occurred?
I have a log, but I would say approximately once a month. Every time that she sends me a text requesting it, I always have Jaden call her back.
Okay, so there's no set schedule?
No, just whenever she wants.
Okay, and how long did those conversations last?
I believe the longest was this past winter, and it was 13 minutes, and usually it would be about 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay, all right, and do you limit the phone calls in length for any reason?
No.
I have nothing else, Judge.
Mr. Zernich.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now I'd like to ask Ms. Ho, or Ms. Ho, what prior experience do you have prior to having Jaden dealing with the issue of ADHD?
I didn't.
Okay, how about same question for the ODD?
I didn't.
Okay. Nonetheless, do you feel that you've learned how to deal with it?
Yes.
What would make you think that my client, Kaylee, would not be able to learn to do the same if she doesn't already know?
Well, this whole hearsay thing is very complicated.
Well, you can say,
Your opinion.
Mr. Zernich, why don't you ask some more specific questions?
Okay, I was just looking to see if she had an opinion on that issue.
And if you're concerned about your answer, you can answer and then allow all of these lawyers to discuss further whether or not I can consider your answer. So hearsay is a legal issue that we'll resolve. I don't need for you to do the heavy lifting and the thinking ahead of time, right? I appreciate Mr. Hoplin's direction because he was trying to ask you some really good questions. But go ahead, Mr. Zernich, why don't you ask another more specific question?
I will. I'm sorry, what do you call the behavioral issue that he has, the spatial relationship between person and body and mind and whatnot? What was that called?
I don't remember the exact medical terminology. It starts with a P.
So he has occipital and vestibular sensory processing issues, Mr. Zernich.
That's
Okay.
it.
Quite frequently co-occur with ADHD.
Okay. Ms. Ho, do you have any experience prior to Jaden dealing with a child that has had this particular issue, or anybody?
No.
With this?
No.
Okay. When did you first find out that Jaden had ADHD?
I suspected he had something right off the bat. And I discussed it with Kaylee and Belinda. They informed me that Kaylee has ADHD. I don't know if it's hereditary. I think it is. And I believe Belinda has ADHD as well. And just from Jaden's movements and the way he learns things, I knew there was something different. And I had mentioned to Rex on many occasions that there's something different, and I really want to make sure we address it and get him help when he's little, so that it doesn't follow him as an adult and he can be, productive and successful.
When you finally got that diagnosis from a doctor, did you communicate with my client in writing about that issue, that you could verify that you've even discussed it with her or
No.
even told her about it?
No, I didn't. When he got the diagnosis, no, but I've discussed with her numerous times about him having ADHD and her expressing her opinions on that.
How many different medications is he taking now?
He's taking one, and it's Adderall extended release 25 milligrams.
Have you ever communicated with Kaylee about his taking Adderall in the form of some writing that you would be able to produce?
No.
Have you ever communicated with her at all regarding the Adderall?
No.
And might we ask why not, being that she's his mother?
Because Rex has full sole legal and physical custody. And at the hearing, when I was there with the judge at the CPS case, her attorney objected and said, "Oh, we want her to be involved." And then the judge said, "We don't we don't know if we want her to be involved, and gave her a period of, I think, 10 to 14 days to petition that, and she never did. So I just kind of I just take the advice of what the judge had said and the advice of what Rex, who has sole legal and physical custody, wants.
So it's your understanding that since Rex has the decision or can properly make a decision to not communicate anything with her, that's the best course of action, and that's in the best interest of Jaden, even though that has been delegated to you?
Well, I believe, in my opinion, that if Kaylee shows interest, I will give her whatever information she asks for or she shows interest. But I feel it's up to her to want to be in her son's life or show interest in her child, and she's never asked. I don't lie. I don't withhold anything. You know, if she asks me, I will tell her he's doing good. I told her he was getting straight A's. I sent her, school pictures.
So in the regards to the Adderall, what would make you think she would ask if he's taking Adderall if she has no idea that he's been prescribed Adderall?
Well, she knows that he has ADHD. She could always ask, so how's it going with him and his ADHD? We have spoke about, his ADHD, and I did mention about his occupational therapy, because when scheduling the visits, I told her he's doing occupational therapy, and therefore the times has to be this, because otherwise it coincides with that, because it's twice a week, and is on weekends. But yeah.
I'm curious about this issue with the monkey bars. You talked about. You say he was on the top of the monkey bars, but allegedly Kaylee was on the telephone. Was that an accurate summary of your testimony?
She wasn't on the phone. She was texting, so she wasn't on a physical phone call.
How do you know that she couldn't pay attention to what he was doing while she was texting?
Because
wouldn't you agree that people text all the time, but at the same time that they're doing something else?
Yes, multitasking is something that people do, but he fell, and she did not see. So, I mean, A plus B is C, right? He fell, she didn't see it, so, I mean, I don't know what else to say. She was not paying attention.
Might I ask if he's in therapy for this occupational therapy, which seems that he has a lack of awareness of his movements and whatnot, why you would allow him to go to the top of the monkey bars?
It was Kaylee's visit, and I tend to try to give her enough space so that she can build a relationship with him. And he was on the monkey bars, and as soon as he went to get on top of the monkey bars, I looked at her, and then I was like hesitant, but it was like a split second, and he fell, and Bonnie and I rushed over.
I've seen through some of the text I've read, and maybe perhaps in some of the cards, that he calls you mom.
Yes.
Don't you think that might be confusing to him, because you really aren't his mom, and he does have a mom that still visits him?
Yes and no. I mean, am I allowed to say that? So he called me Ting for about a year and a half, and he would always he calls me Ting, and then he decided he wanted to call me mom, and it was awkward at the beginning for me because, again, I didn't give birth to the child, so I understand that, but to him, I am his mom. I do everything for him. I bathe him, I take him to school, I feed him, literally everything. So for him, he wanted to call me mom, and I did tell him that Kaylee is also your mom. Kaylee is your mom, but, he's to call me mom. I don't really want to tell him, no, you cannot.
Is it true that you've told him that you do not want him to call Kaylee mom?
Absolutely incorrect. Or
to hug her at the beginning of his visit?
Absolutely not. except for the pandemic. I did tell him that let's try to keep a small distance because at the beginning I asked Kaylee to wear a mask. She refused. She got really upset saying, I can't ask her to do that. She can't find a mask. I told her I would provide a mask for her. But she did. She ended up coming with a mask. But it was at the beginning of the pandemic. So I did tell him, but not just to her, to everybody. We need to stay 6 feet apart. But it doesn't matter because they don't listen anyways.
What type of bond do you think that Jaden has with Kaylee?
I don't know. It's hard to describe. He knows her. And he knows that Kaylee is his mom. Kaylee would tell him, "I born you," so he knows that Kaylee gave birth to him. I don't know. It's hard to describe since there wasn't a lot of time for them to really bond or develop a significant relationship.
Would you dispute that he was raised primarily and solely by her until he was taken away by CPS, which was, I think, around his age of 2.5?
I can't testify to that because I hear Belinda say this, and then I hear Kaylee say this, so I don't know for a fact where he was prior to the CPS case.
Would you be able to say for certain that he was not with Rex?
Yes, for certain, I can say that.
And actually, when the CPS case started, did he not live with Mark Grimaldi for about 2 years before Rex got involved? Isn't that accurate?
That is accurate. That's what the CPS file states, yes.
So he was roughly about 4.5 years old when he got together, when he was given to his father. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
So at that age, would you dispute the fact that, or did you think that was in his best interest at that point in time?
Yes, I did.
But nonetheless, he had no relationship with his father until age 4.5 and was just turned over to him. And so you agree that that was in his best interest. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay. How do you think that Kaylee is supposed to build a better bond with Jaden if her visits are limited to 1 hour and sometimes 2?
She could start by showing up to her visits and not no call, no show.
I'm talking about the times that she does show up. What's the purpose of having a 1 hour limitation?
Well, I increased it to 2 hours, and to be honest, at the beginning, there was no limitation. At the beginning, there was no limitation. It was when Kaylee wanted, where Kaylee wanted, for as long as Kaylee wanted. She wanted Circus Circus. I said yes. And mind you, I have to pay for my own admission to Circus Circus. She wants to go ice skating. I say yes. And there's no time. Ice skating is at 6 p.m., so I say yes, 6 p.m. Wherever she wants, I agree to, except I will not do amusement park again. But she wants the movies, I do movies. So there was really no time constraint. But the problem is she didn't show up a lot of times. Or she disappears for 3 months. And then, so when we made it a consistent visit, if she wanted movies, I would still say yes. If she wanted ice skating, I still said yes. But Jaden has a short attention span. And after an hour, it's long for him. And her visits, the activities that she plans, it doesn't take him through 2 hours of his attention span. Does that make sense? I never really gave her a time limit until June of 2020 because she wasn't showing up.
Why did the visit always have to happen at some special event place as compared to just in a living room, your house, her house, somewhere that she could, sit around and just have a visit. I mean, whether they watch TV together or play a video game, have some lunch and spend the rest of the afternoon. Don't you think that would be a better way for him to get to know his mother?
I mean, she picked where she wanted to go. She picked Circus. She picked ice skating. She picked the movies. And I don't really want her in my living room. There are some incidences before that I can't prove, but, I highly suspect, so I'm not comfortable with her and the people that she associates with to be in my living room. I think that's kind of fair, right?
Well, I don't know. When you say the people she associates with, what kind of information do you have about the people that she associates with?
I mean, then it would be hearsay, so I guess I should not say it.
I'm just curious how you have any information about who she associates with, or if you were just sort of embellishing.
Her Instagram videos, her Instagram pictures, her Facebook pictures. She has friends in there. They're always, drinking, smoking, doing drugs. I just prefer not to have that in my living room.
I think you've produced some pictures about the Instagram videos and/or pictures. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Maybe I saw a couple of pictures of some girls that looked like they were in some bikinis and having some fun in a pool. That was one of them. Did you have a problem with that picture for some reason?
No, I just picked whatever pictures. I mean, not particularly, but they're all smoking. They don't. I don't know. I mean, kind of yes and no. I don't know how to answer that question.
Would it be fair to say that you just don't like my client?
That is absolutely not correct.
Why do you refer to her as Deadbeat Kaylee then?
Because I was mad at her at the time because she was like, it's my personal phone. But if you see all of it, most of it is not. And then I was mad at her because she was like being mean to me. And I asked her if she would, help with some of Jaden's, after school activities, and she didn't want to. And so I just put Deadbeat Kaylee. But it's Kaylee now. It was for a short period of time.
Does Jaden have access to your phone? It's my understanding that he does.
No, why would he have access to my phone?
I'm asking you.
No, he doesn't. He has his own iPad.
Do you refer to Kaylee as Deadbeat Kaylee to Jaden?
No.
I noticed in all your testimony about her visits and the things that you think that she was not doing to your satisfaction, you did not mention that you ever felt she was intoxicated at a visit. So could we put that to rest? Would you agree that she never showed up to appear to you to be intoxicated?
I would not say that she appeared to be intoxicated. I would say sometimes she appeared to be maybe hungover, like extra tired, sluggish, just kind of not there. But no, I cannot say she was like drunk at a visit.
Do you have a job?
I do.
Okay, what do you do?
Well, you mean at this very moment? Or in general?
In general, this very moment.
At this very moment, well, I own real estate, so I have real estate income. I also have a realtor's license, so I do real estate, and I'm also a poker player.
That's where we get the Queen of Sets in your as your
Yes.
name.
Yes. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was asking if it was a reference to poker playing. I
Yes.
figured it was Queen of Sets.
Yes.
Do you, as a poker player, do you go to tournaments?
I used to before I had Jaden, and then it's been few and far between.
Okay, when's the last poker tournament that you attended? Just to finish the question.
I want to say, I would have to check my Hendon mob because I don't really remember, but it was 2019. I would say 2019. Definitely not 2020 because of the pandemic.
Did you recently file for bankruptcy?
No, I did not.
Okay. Have you ever worked a job that you worked all night? You know, the basically what you might call the graveyard shift?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you know if Kaylee has?
I assume so, since she was a stripper, exotic dancer, whatever is politically correct.
That's okay. You could refer to it however you want. It is a legitimate job, though. I would presume you would agree with that.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I mean, it's a job, correct?
Okay. Would you have any idea if she worked for the club in any other capacity other than as an exotic dancer, such as a promoter?
Yes, she has told me that. I believe that. That's correct.
Okay. And did she ever tell you that she often worked till 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning?
I don't want to say that she told me. What were your exact words again?
If you had known that she was whether it was as a stripper or as a promoter, that she worked frequently all night because that were the hours for her to earn her income.
I don't think so.
Had you known that, would you be a little more understandable about maybe why she might show up to a visit looking perhaps tired, or maybe what you think appeared to be hungover?
I mean, I don't know. I
mean, when you say that you think she looked like she was hungover, you have no actual knowledge or information that she was actually hungover. Isn't that
correct.
accurate?
That is correct. I did not state that.
Hey, you talk about this time that she scolded Jaden for knocking over the drink in the park.
Correct.
But then you went on to talk about how the fact that you scolded Jaden also. So I'm curious what the difference is.
What do you mean? I did not say I scold Jaden.
Well, you said you have red zone, yellow zone, green zone, and you described it, I think, as a scolding method.
I did not say a scolding method, a teaching method maybe, but definitely not scolding method. 100% I did not say that.
So is it your belief that parents are not supposed to scold their children?
Yes, of course. Kids should have discipline. I 100% agree. But I feel like her reaction was a little bit excessive. And since she only sees him every so often, she probably shouldn't make him feel uncomfortable or anxious.
I was trying to take a look through the 400 or 500 pages of text messages that you've provided. Maybe I just missed it, but I really couldn't find anywhere that you communicated with her about the red zone, yellow zone, green zone method. I'm curious if you did.
No, I didn't. That's just something that I work with Jaden with.
So is it your testimony that you expect her to have a different method that she has, but you admit that you didn't share with her the method that you felt was working?
I don't admit to expecting her to have a different method. I expect her to just not yell at him.
Is it your testimony that you don't ever yell at him?
Of course I do. All parents yell at kids. But
so you have the double standard going on here? What's that about?
Well, I feel like when you yell at a child, you kind of have to have a bond with them first, right? You have to have a rapport. They have to feel safe with you. So when I, reprimand him, hey, you can't do this, he knows it comes from love and care and protecting him, but he doesn't have that bond or rapport with Kaylee yet. So when she just scolds him, it makes him anxious and unhappy. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain it.
Well, since you asked, what doesn't make sense to me is how she's supposed to develop a bond with a 1 and 2 hour visit at a park where you don't allow her to go walk away with him to be private. I mean, isn't that accurate that as a supervisor you think that it's your role that you need to be right there with them and give them no private time? That's my understanding.
Well, I didn't set that in place to start with. She brought that upon herself. That was a directive from the judge, number one. And two, again, I feel how she would build a bond would be to start showing up, to not being late, to putting him as a priority. You have to start somewhere. That would be where you start. I mean, I can't put a parenting plan in place for her. You know, she has to want to. She has to make him a priority. She has to want to do that. I just provide Jaden. I make sure Jaden shows up. I make sure Jaden is happy and healthy and ready for a visit. That's my job.
Do you think some of the problem of her not showing up is because she just doesn't get along with you?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I feel like the reason why she doesn't show up is she doesn't like rules. She doesn't like boundaries. She wants to do what she wants to do and not what's in the best interest of Jaden.
Would you categorize your rules and boundaries as being fairly strict?
Yes, I am fairly strict. I mean, it's to protect the child, to give him structure, to give him boundaries. So yes, I mean, I am strict. I do believe in.
Is that because that's what Rex, the person that truly had custody of the child, he gave you that direction? He said, "Here, I'm going to give you my kid to raise, and I need you to be strict."
He doesn't say, I'm going to give you my kid to raise, you have to be strict. So, no, that's not what he said. But he believes and trusts me to raise Jaden the best that I can, and he firmly believes that I am the best for Jaden, and I will do the best job.
When you say in the movie theater she walked out of the theater and came back smelling of marijuana, you don't have any actual information that she left and went and smoked marijuana. Isn't that accurate?
That is accurate. I did not follow her, so I did not witness it. I can only state to the fact that she left, 2 to 3 times every visit, and then when we left, I can smell marijuana on her.
But meanwhile, you say that you've seen her smoking a vape as compared to an actual joint.
Yes,
Isn't that
those were
accurate?
at the park. Yes, that was at the park and not at a movie theater because I did not leave the theater.
Yeah, but you thought that the vape was marijuana because you said you could smell it.
That's not true. I did not say that. I said specifically that I have not smelled marijuana on her this year or part of last year because she started using a vape. And I'm not sure if it's supposed to have a scent or not, but I absolutely did not testify to that.
Would it be accurate to say that you have no clue what is in that vape?
100%, and I said that as well.
Okay. So without really knowing it, you don't want to give her the benefit of the doubt. You just assumed that the vape was marijuana because it seemed to me that your testimony was alleging that she's smoking marijuana by the vape, and that's why she doesn't smell like marijuana anymore.
In my opinion, whether it's nicotine or marijuana or whatever, it should not be done while she's having a visit, while she has the child.
I see. So it's your opinion parents should not have the right to smoke a cigarette around their child? They don't have that.
Me
they don't have that.
personally, I would not subject them to secondhand smoke. No, I would not.
Okay, I get it. But your belief and the way that other people are supposed to conduct themselves, I mean, because you wouldn't do it, you think that she shouldn't do it, and it's unacceptable if she did, even if it's a vape.
I cannot answer that question. It's too long and I don't remember it.
Okay, I'm not even going to rephrase it. I'll move on.
Okay. Sorry.
You said that this issue of marijuana at the movies, back to that. Did you ever address that issue with her in the form of some text message? I'll leave it at that. That's a yes or no question.
No.
Might I ask why not when we have 500 pages of text messages and one issue of a concern you don't ever address in the form of a text message?